I am known to the world as a god, simply because my computer connects to a 2D world. I can grant them objects from the real world, and a kitchen knife I tossed in actually became their divine weapon. Meanwhile, their sacrifices to me can enter reality. But what I didn't expect was that their very first sacrifice would scare me half to death. When I clicked open this Pixel God game, a voice suddenly echoed in my mind. On this day, the world finally welcomes back its great god. Your descent has restored meaning to the world. When I snapped back to reality, the scene on my screen started to change. A flat, green meadow appeared, surrounded by forests and rivers. In the center stood a white domed temple. Right after, the voice spoke again. This is your temple. Please name it. My name is Lin Yao. Let's just call it the Yao Temple. Just then, two barefoot, shirtless pixel men appeared in the corner. They walked all the way over and started pacing around the temple. An exclamation mark popped up over one's head. What a magnificent building. A god must have built this. The other raised his hands high. This is a revelation from the god. It's a blessed land. We must get more people to settle here. The promised land. Smiley faces appeared above both their heads, and they ran off screen. A few seconds later, they brought 5 more people back with them. The 7 little figures began worshipping around the temple. Next to the temple, they built a tiny thatched hut and transplanted some berry bushes from off screen, starting their life beside the temple. A prompt appeared on the screen. You have gained your first believers in this world. The power of faith is how you manifest miracles. Collect more faith. A small human icon in the top right represented population, and a palace icon next to it represented faith. Both population and faith were at 7. One believer provided just 1 point of faith. I clicked on faith, and a locked glowing orb appeared. This is a miracle. Requires a certain amount of faith to unlock. The most basic one was rain. There were many more powerful miracles too, like Agir's fire. The god of the deep imprisoned a fire dragon, turning it into a spectacle, capable of shooting powerful flaming boulders. Looking at these miracles got me thinking. In other words, I'd need 10 believers to perform a basic miracle once. Increasing the population was the top priority. Unlike other simulation games, this god simulator couldn't directly build houses or spawn residents. I just had to wait for the pixel people to multiply or gather. I watched them farm, and then noticed the figures around the temple were acting strangely. Sad faces popped up above their heads, and they all gathered to pray at the temple. Oh great god, we beg for your manifestation. Please bless us. Great god, the forest tribe thinks we worship a demon, and they want to tear down the temple. Please show us a miracle. I instantly realized this was their first major crisis, but my faith was only at 7. I couldn't even make it rain. I kept exploring, and eventually clicked the temple to open a new interface. In the center was a stone bonfire. In front of it stood a gray humanoid statue, with a blurred face, of ambiguous gender. It seemed to be their imagined image of the god. Before the statue was a long table, with 2 placement slots. The large one on the left was labeled sacrifice, the smaller one on the right boon. Both were currently empty. Sacrifice was easy to understand. Then boon must be power or items granted to the believers. Was this the miracle they were asking for? But then I noticed something weird. Why did that long table look so familiar? It looked exactly like my computer desk. The sacrifice slot was the exact rectangle of my keyboard, and the boon slot was an oval. Could it be my mouse? Looking closely at the statue, wasn't that me? The thought gave me a scare, followed by a very bold idea. I carefully placed a clove of garlic from my desk onto my mouse, and stared at it expectantly. 2 seconds later, the garlic just rolled off. Just a coincidence, I guess. I scoffed at myself. But right then, the fallen garlic suddenly vanished into thin air. I instinctively looked at the screen. Inside the temple's boon slot, a pixelated garlic icon had appeared. I clicked it, and read the text. A god's boon, a special spice, and also a medicinal herb. Do you wish to grant this garlic to your believers? I shuddered. I jogged around my apartment, then splashed cold water on my face. Once I sobered up and went back to my desk, the garlic in the boon slot was still very much there. This meant the garlic in my hand had indeed entered the temple via my mouse. While I had no idea where this game came from, or how it could break the fourth wall like this, I really wanted to see what an interaction between reality and the game would actually do. So I clicked yes. The little guys worshipping outside the temple suddenly had exclamation marks pop up. The god has manifested. The god has shown us a miracle. Oh great god, thank you for your boon. Garlic. The god granted us garlic. They knelt, prayed, and spread the word. Their expressions turned to happy faces, and they got to work, plowing a field together. Tiny sprouts grew from the soil, slowly turning into green seedlings. A message popped up on screen. Your boon has taught your believers to plant and use garlic. Faith has increased. My faith score in the corner jumped from 7 to 22. It seemed granting boons was a fast track to faith. I then grabbed a pencil from my desk. Figuring tools would be useful for a tribal civilization, but when I opened the page, the garlic was still in the boon slot. Clicking it showed a prompt. Garlic is currently merging with the world. Please be patient. I had to let it go. I just started playing, still figuring out a lot of the mechanics. About half an hour later, a group of figures ran in from off-screen. They were all wearing leather vests. The leader wore a horned helmet and held a wooden spear, carrying torches. They surrounded the temple. This demon shack must be destroyed. You demon worshippers, burn it! Burn it! Burn it! This was what my believers had mentioned. The forest tribe believed a demon was worshipped here. The 7 believers outside the temple popped up exclamation marks. This is the god's palace. The god has shown us a miracle. The miracle of garlic. But the forest tribe wouldn't listen, yelling to set the fire. I opened the miracle selection, hovering my mouse over the first option, rain. If I made it rain, with these primitives understanding, they'd probably think the god was angry. But then I thought, wait. If I'm going to act, I better go big. I looked further down the list. Miracles sorted by faith cost, from low to high. Rain 10, lightning 20, scorching sun 25, hurricane 30, earthquake 40. I only had 22 faith, so I locked onto lightning. You're it. I clicked lightning, and my cursor became an area selector, and drag range icon. I shrunk the range, and locked it right on the forest tribe leader's head. As they say, the nail that sticks out gets hammered. With great power comes great responsibility. Eat this. Heavenly thunder. A gentle click of the mouse, and a bolt of lightning struck from the pixel sky, hitting the horned helmet guy directly, blasting him and the 2 next to him, straight to ashes. The rest of the forest tribe popped exclamation marks, and fled in all directions. Only my 7 believers remained, popping up angry emojis. Divine retribution. You angered the god. This is what happens to blasphemers. I watched with satisfaction. Being worshipped as a god felt pretty good. I relaxed, and noticed my neck was a bit stiff. The game didn't have many controls, but it was strangely addictive. Before I knew it, it was 12:30 a.m. Though a bit reluctant, I shut off the computer, washed up, and got into bed. I still had work tomorrow, after all. Lying in bed, I groggily thought, if I can create natural disasters, and keep sending real-world objects to the humans in the game, then to the pixel people, I am no different from a true god. After work the next day, I couldn't wait to launch the God Simulator. I clicked Continue Game, and the familiar pixel scene slowly unfolded. I breathed a sigh of relief. Good thing the save wasn't corrupted, but the scene on screen caught me off guard. There were now 5 huts next to the temple. Each had a grid of farmland out front, growing garlic. The population had gone from 7 to 30. Faith was at 25. I did the math. I used 1 lightning strike yesterday, leaving me with only 2 faith. Now it was 25, meaning I gained 23 points. Population also increased by 23, proving my theory right. Under normal circumstances, 1 new person brings 1 point of faith. More importantly, even when the game isn't open on the computer, it keeps running in the background. A prompt appeared. You have enough followers to establish a tribe. Please name it. I casually typed 2 words, following the simple naming conventions of ancient times. Since their specialty is the garlic, I granted them. Calling it the Garlic Tribe makes sense. Your miracles and boons have officially established the Garlic Tribe. The Yao Temple is now known to people far and wide. I focused my attention on the newcomers, the 23 new pixel people. All wore leather vests, completely different from the 7 barefoot, shirtless locals. They were from the Forest Tribe. A portion of the Forest Tribe has joined the temple faction and settled here. Last night's lightning strike yielded immediate results, whether out of fear or reverence. They were definitely drawn over here. With the increased population, a simple division of labor began. They weren't just growing garlic and picking berries anymore. 2 of them started hunting in the forest, while another tried catching fish barehanded. Overall, the Garlic Tribe was still in a primitive stage. Every member was working hard just to find food. I clicked open the temple interface. The garlic was still in the boon slot. The cooldown seemed pretty long. If I had known I could drop real-world items into the pixel world, I would have chosen wheat. That would solve the early food shortage, or maybe sent a bow and arrow over. Mastering archery makes hunting much easier, and they could fight back against the Forest Tribe. Just then, I looked down, and suddenly saw something new. A red item had appeared in the sacrifice slot. I hovered my mouse over it. It was a red creature, curled up into a ball, like some newborn little animal. A prompt read, Garlic Tribe Infant, a sacrifice to the god. My eye twitched. Human sacrifice. Definitely fit the habits of primitive humans worshipping gods. The screen displayed, do you wish to accept the Garlic Tribe Infant offered by your believers? I decisively clicked no. If a baby inexplicably showed up in my apartment, I wouldn't be able to explain it to anyone. The cops would definitely bring me in for questioning. What's even scarier? What if the Garlic Tribe kept sending babies? Just thinking about the cost of formula and diapers made me numb. Bro, I'm a god, not your tribe's daycare worker. As I rejected the sacrifice, exclamation marks popped up over everyone in the tribe. The god is displeased. The god doesn't want the infant. I told you not to use a baby. It should be an adult who can farm and pick berries for the god. No, no. We must use prey. The best prey. The god must like wild boars. I think it's fish. Fish is the best. Go find new sacrifices. Seeing the pixel people's dialogue, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Though if they did send wild game or fresh fish, I could have a nice late night snack tonight. The whole tribe, except for 5 people left behind, all ran off to the nearby forests and mountains. They looked left and right, seemingly searching for suitable sacrifices. Then I noticed a unique pixel person. He was one of the original 7 believers, standing barefoot and shirtless outside the temple, looking up at the sky. A question mark appeared above his head. I hovered my mouse over the question mark, and a speech bubble popped up, revealing his inner thoughts. What kind of sacrifice does the god actually want? He doesn't want an infant, so he probably doesn't need labor. He granted the tribe magical garlic, so the god's world certainly doesn't lack food. When the Forest Tribe desecrated the temple, they were instantly struck by divine retribution. The god surely possesses unimaginably great power. Our things are meaningless to him. Therefore, only magical items we cannot understand or use might be accepted by the god. Then, the question mark turned into a lit light bulb. He seemed to realize something, and jogged into the dense forest. I watched in mild surprise. This guy's thinking ability was clearly a cut above the rest. It was as if he had awakened to wisdom. Shortly after, he ran out of the forest, holding an object in both hands as he entered the temple. A small icon appeared in the sacrifice slot. It looked like a short cane, polished from a tree branch. The prompt read, Vigor Cane, restores 1 point of vigor and faith per hour. A treasure crafted by the god of the forest, able to absorb overflowing life force from nature. The bearer can extract abundant vigor upon touch, lost after the fall of the god of the forest. Do you wish to accept the Vigor Cane offered by your believer? I clicked yes. The cane icon vanished from the sacrifice slot, and a short cane, about the length of a forearm, appeared on my black computer keyboard. My palms started sweating, though I vaguely guessed boons could be sent to the pixel world via the temple. Then, theoretically, sacrifices could also be sent over from that world. But seeing it actually happen right before my eyes, I still couldn't help but hold my breath. I carefully picked it up. The cane wasn't heavy, about the same weight as normal wood. Its surface was covered in vertical grains, yet it felt smooth and fine, as if coated in clear varnish. The top of the cane split into 2 short forks, like a broken clothes hole, but tiny sprouts were growing on the branches, giving off a sense of lingering vitality. Holding the Vigor Cane, I felt instantly refreshed. My back and waist aches vanished completely. I felt like I was 14 or 15 again, ready to bounce back after just one sleep following an all-nighter. A magic item from the pixel world actually works in the real world too. A line of text appeared on the cane. Maximum vigor retention, 12 hours. In other words, as long as I hold this cane, theoretically, I don't need to sleep. The next day, whether at work or in class, I would never doze off. A surge of excitement washed over me. I swung the cane around excitedly for a bit before calming down. No, that's not the main point. The point is that sacrifices really can be brought out of the pixel game world, without a doubt. In the pixel world, there are other magic items like the Vigor Cane. If they can be continuously sent over through the temple, then this game is an endless treasure trove. I felt absolutely invigorated. With the temple's ability to break the 4th wall, it won't be long before I can escape my miserable wage slave life and reach the pinnacle of life. I then turned my attention back to the game. The pixel people were returning to the tribe one by one, with smiley faces above their heads. The god likes the sacrifice. Great. So the god likes that kind of sacrifice. I'll definitely find something even better. I still think wild boars are the best. The god definitely likes wild boars. Wild boars are way cooler than that branch. I noticed. The two guys obsessed with boars and fish were both from the forest tribe, wearing leather vests. I guess the forest tribe mostly relies on gathering and hunting, so they think prey is the best gift. It makes sense. I scanned through the pixel people, trying to find the one who offered the vigor cane, but they all looked exactly identical, with no names above their heads, and no distinct features. It was hard to tell them apart. After some searching, though, I found him inside the temple, shirtless and barefoot. He still had a question mark above his head. A new message appeared on the screen. A believer has developed wisdom. Do you wish to convert him into a prophet? In many ancient cultures, a prophet is someone who receives divine revelation to convey God's will. This pixel guy who found the vigor cane definitely fit the bill. In the pixel world, I also needed someone who could understand my intentions, even if they only understood a fraction of it. It was better than letting a bunch of them guess blindly. I definitely didn't want another baby showing up in my sacrifice slot. I immediately clicked yes. The tribe gained its first prophet. Under the prophet's guidance and influence, everyone's intelligence slightly improved. The prophet knelt and prayed to the statue, then walked out of the temple, where all the pixel people immediately surrounded him, as if they knew he had received the god's grace. The prophet spoke. The sacrifices our God requires are magical items beyond our understanding and control. Keep an eye out from now on. Offer anything similar you find to the god, and you will receive his boons. The prophet is right. Listen to the prophet. Magical items. Let's find magical items. Magical wild boars. I know of a magical white boar. No one has ever caught it. I've seen a magical fish in the water. It eats all flesh and bone. Extremely magical. The god will definitely like it. I looked speechlessly at the last two pixel people who spoke. Sure enough, they were both wearing leather vests, even without any marks or names. I could instantly tell they must be those two brothers from before. Their obsession with boars and fish was as persistent as a firefly in the night. Way too conspicuous. Although the prophet told the others the trace of the sacrifice, over the next 3 hours, none of the pixel people found anything similar. Most of them returned to their normal lives, planting garlic and berries, and then eating them. Soon after, 2 new babies were born in the tribe. The pixel people started assigning helpers to take care of the newborns, and the only one I could control and guide was the prophet. Even then, I could only move him to designated spots. As for whether he could understand or find anything, that depended purely on his own comprehension. After spectating for a while, it was already 6:30 p.m. I was getting hungry, so I went downstairs to a small diner and ordered green pepper and shredded pork fried rice. I wolfed it down and hurried back. The garlic tribe on screen had a new development. A black bear had invaded the tribe out of nowhere. It destroyed 2 fields and a hut. There were also the corpses of 2 pixel people on the ground. Most of the little people were hiding behind the temple, trembling uncontrollably. The prophet stood next to the temple, holding the tribe's 2 babies in his arms. The black bear was 2 or 3 times the size of a pixel person. To them, it was basically a giant monster. It was currently tearing at the corpses on the ground. We finally got 2 newborns, and I was counting on the population to boost my faith. You show up and immediately reduce my numbers? Do you have a death wish? Eat my justice from above. Just as I was about to unleash a lightning bolt, I suddenly noticed something odd. 2 pixel people from the tribe were facing off against the black bear. They wore leather vests and wielded wooden sticks. One in front, one behind. They circled the black bear, continuously whacking its head and butt. Moving around, they yelled, "Power of the boar. I'm as agile as a fish." Hearing these catchphrases, it had to be those 2 brothers. I was in a bit of a bind. If I used lightning right now, the 2 guys might also get blasted to ashes, just like that horn helmet leader before. I needed them to put some distance between themselves and the bear. The tribe's small population couldn't afford any more casualties, so I decided to observe a bit longer. The 2 pixel guys were very agile, working together, front and back. They'd land a hit and run, while the other attacked, forcing the bear to fight on 2 fronts. The wooden sticks couldn't deal much damage, but they thoroughly annoyed the black bear. Fire emojis popped up over its head. It dropped the corpses on the ground, and wildly chased after the 2 guys. This time, they didn't stick around to fight. They both fled toward the forest. I understood now. They were trying to lure the black bear away, to avoid further harm to the others. Usually, these brothers seemed a bit unreliable, but they really stepped up when it mattered. I immediately selected lightning, predicting the black bear's path toward the forest. I tried to keep the strike as far away from the brothers as possible. A silver bolt of lightning struck down on its head. The black bear took a direct headshot from the lightning, and dropped dead instantly. The brothers were also knocked to the ground in shock, but after a few seconds, they scrambled back up. They were alive. I breathed a sigh of relief, seeing the black bear killed by lightning. All the pixel people raised their arms and cheered. Smiley faces popped up over their heads. Only the prophet had a question mark pop up. I clicked the question mark, and saw the prophet pondering. How did a bear come out of the deep mountains? We've never seen a bear this big around here. Where on earth did it come from? And why did it suddenly attack the garlic tribe? Then, the prophet handed the babies to someone nearby, and walked over to the bear's charred corpse. An exclamation mark popped up above his head. Reading the text prompt, I was stunned. It actually transformed into a dead pixel person. The tribe members instantly panicked. It's a demon worshipper. Someone who worships demons turned into a bear. He wanted to destroy the temple and attack us. A man-eating demon. So scary. There are demons here. I'm leaving. 3 pixel people immediately fled in all directions. The population in the top right dropped to 25, and my faith dropped by 3 points, counting the 20 faith spent on lightning, and the replenishment from the vigor cane. The temple only had 7 faith left in total. I scratched my head. All that hard work for a whole day, and I'm right back to square one. Being a god isn't easy either. What concerned me more was this new demon element. It sounds like demons and gods are opposing factions. The tribe hadn't been established for long, and demon worshippers were already attacking. I don't know if it was a coincidence or if we were targeted, but dealing with demons in the future seems inevitable. The prophet found a letter on the demon worshipper's corpse. Target, the forest tribe. Strike while the forest tribe hunters are out, and kill as many as possible. The prophet's question mark turned into a glowing light bulb. I understand now. This demon worshipper who turned into a bear went to the wrong place. He mistook our tribe for the forest tribe, which is why he attacked us. Their real target is the forest tribe. We are still safe. The other terrified little people finally calmed down and began repairing the destroyed huts and fields. I opened the temple interface. The garlic in the boon slot hadn't vanished yet, meaning I still couldn't send remote aid. The sacrifice slot was empty, though, and the tribe hadn't sent any new sacrifices. But to my surprise, 2 more pixel people entered the temple. Great God, 2 believers have achieved feats far beyond their peers. Do you wish to convert them into heroes? I clicked yes without hesitation. A white light glowed on the 2 pixel people, and the title hero appeared above their heads. Naturally, it was those 2 brothers, following the prophet. Hero characters could also be guided and controlled by me. I could select certain areas and have the 2 heroes explore and patrol those zones, while the prophet excelled at thinking. The heroes were better at exploration and field reconnaissance. Repeatedly clicking on the brothers opened a detailed character interface. It showed pixel portraits of the 2 male heroes. The one who liked boars was muscular. The one who liked fish looked lean and agile. They wore identical leather vests and had no other equipment. Sure enough, one used to be a hunter and the other a fisherman, though their stats were a bit underwhelming. However, being heroes awakened from ordinary pixel people, I couldn't ask for too much. I then opened the prophet's character interface. The prophet's portrait showed him shirtless, looking up at the sky. Profession, farmer. Aside from his knowledge stat being 3, all his other stats were 0. Fortunately, the prophet had a special ability, wisdom. Wisdom is key for an apostle to hear the God's will. The higher the wisdom level, the easier it is to improve and grasp other abilities. I hovered my mouse over the 6 attributes. The screen displayed the function of each: attack, defense, knowledge, etc. Very similar to the Heroes of Might and Magic series. It seemed that later on, both prophets and heroes would be able to lead soldiers into battle. But right now, the Garlic tribe had a tiny population and was in the early stages of production. Primitive manual farming. No farming tools invented yet, and no technology for crafting weapons. Birthing professional soldiers would take some time, so I grouped the 2 brothers together and sent them to explore the forest. For now, I could only rely on these 2 bachelor heroes, hoping they'd have some good luck. A few minutes later, the brothers actually found something in the forest. They discovered the forest tribe's settlement and were welcomed as guests. An exclamation mark appeared over a forest tribe member. They wanted to trade leather and meat for our garlic. I had the brothers return to meet the prophet and report the forest tribe's request. The prophet fell into deep thought. I was also a bit torn. Should we tell the forest tribe about the black bear? The garlic tribe was still very weak. Trading with the forest tribe now could easily draw attacks from demon worshippers. But this was also our chance to connect with the outside world, to trade for the leather and meat we lacked, and to build a good relationship with them. After some thought, I selected the prophet and moved him directly into the forest. After all, development is the absolute priority. If the tribe doesn't want to get beaten, it has to seize every opportunity to grow rapidly. Otherwise, once the forest tribe is wiped out, the demon worshippers will turn around and come for the garlic tribe next. We can't miss this chance. An exclamation mark popped up over the prophet. I unknowingly arrived at the forest. It seems this is the God's will. The God believes we should ally with the forest tribe. Let's do it. Then, the prophet entered the woods. A pixel person in a leather vest came out to greet him. A small path had been cleared through the forest, leading deep into another settlement. On my computer screen, my field of vision expanded further outward. From my God's eye view, I could see clearly. The forest tribe had over 100 people, living in various treehouses. Unlike the garlic tribe where everyone did everything, the forest tribe had 2 distinct professions: farmers, who specialized in growing berries and mushrooms to trade for food with others, and hunters, who used traps and spears to catch birds and hares, trading their catch with the farmers, and using the pelts to make leather. Normally, farmers stayed in the tribe tending the crops, while hunters ventured into the forests and mountains for prey. The leader of the forest tribe was called a shaman, wearing a wooden mask. The shaman and the prophet conversed for a while, but their dialogue didn't display on screen. It was like they opened a private chat that even I couldn't see. Fortunately, 10 minutes later, several messages popped up on the interface. The prophet informed the forest tribe about the demon worshipper attack. The forest tribe's attitude changed to friendly. The prophet taught the forest tribe how to plant and use garlic. The forest tribe's attitude changed to intimate. Boon complete. Garlic has fully merged with the world. Forest tribe and garlic tribe have successfully allied. Your faith will now spread within the forest tribe. Seeing this string of good news, I felt somewhat relieved. The prophet's maneuvers had achieved continuous merits. With the forest tribe's population of over 100, I at least had a chance to gain more believers. These were the sources of faith I desperately needed. The alliance gave the garlic tribe a reliable trading partner. Most importantly, the boon was completed. I hurriedly opened the temple interface. Sure enough, the boon slot was empty. In other words, I could transmit another item over now. I was excited for a few seconds before falling into deep thought. What exactly did the garlic tribe need most right now? Writing, tools, food? Playing with the vigor cane in my hand, various ideas popped into my head. Every option seemed useful. Just as I was suffering from choice paralysis, another line of text appeared on screen. In gratitude for the garlic you granted, The forest tribe has offered a sacrifice. I rejoiced inwardly. The second sacrifice had arrived. I quickly opened the temple. A green plant appeared in the sacrifice slot, shaped like a cactus. Cactus minion. Restores 1 point of faith per hour. A loyal servant of the god. Obeys the god's commands. Responsible for cleaning and attending to the temple. They are reliable and hard-working sprites, usually in the form of a cactus. They transform into servants before the god, a living thing. I quickly retrieved the sacrifice. In the blink of an eye, a round cactus appeared on my keyboard. Fist-sized, it looked no different from cacti on the market. The plump green sphere was covered in sharp thorns. Suddenly, the cactus slowly swayed and sprouted slender green arms and legs. It bent its knees, its round body touching the desk, and solemnly bowed to me. "Can you clean?" The cactus minion remained kneeling and nodded. "Then sweep the floor clean here." Receiving the command, the cactus leapt down from the desk, landing gracefully and steadily. Then it began running across the floor. Wherever it went, dust, hair, and crumbs were swept up and stuck to its body, compressed into a tight ball. It was like a tiny biological vacuum cleaner. Soon, the floor was spotless. Even the crumbs and old grime in the crevices were sucked right out. The cracked, old floor tiles shone brightly, as if they had been waxed and polished. I crossed my legs, popped open a Coke, and watched the cactus work, feeling inexplicably relaxed. So this is the joy of being a god. Work, however, wasn't going so smoothly. I managed to sneak out early yesterday, but today the whole company was doing overtime. The boss had caught some flack outside, came back, held an impromptu meeting, and furiously chewed everyone out. He demanded everyone write a recent work summary, due before we could leave today. The whole office was shrouded in a depressing, low-pressure vibe. No one dared move a muscle until he left. That's when my colleague, Sister Fong, slipped me a wafer. "Thanks, Sister Fong. I'm actually pretty hungry." Sister Fong was one of the 3 people in the company who actually did real work, around 30 years old, and single. While not stunningly beautiful, she spoke gently and amiably, easy to get along with. Because she thought my temper was like her cousin's, she looked out for me quite a bit. However, my mind was entirely focused on the simulator. We finally survived until the boss left. "Want a ride? It's on my way." "No, it's fine." "Then be careful on your way home." Sister Fong suddenly changed the subject. "Haven't you heard the news lately? There's a creep who likes to knock people out and string them up with ropes." "I've heard about it." The 2 victims, a female college student and a male delivery guy. I heard they're both receiving psychological counseling. "Don't you live in the Joyuan community?" I nodded. But right now, I just wanted to get home instantly and check the simulator's progress. So we didn't chat much more. I sprinted all the way back to my apartment. "Garlic Tribe, your god has returned." Pushing the door open, I saw the computer desk right in front. The cactus minion immediately knelt and bowed to me. I noticed my studio apartment looked completely brand new. The sheets, duvet covers, pillowcases, and curtains had all become a shade brighter. The surface dust and stains had all been sucked away. The wardrobe and nightstand were wiped clean and shiny. The room smelled faintly of fresh plants. The only things the cactus hadn't touched were the computer and the desk. In its eyes, these 2 items seemed to be some sacred, inviolable domain. Only the god can touch them. The 24-inch LCD monitor glowed white. Since I found out the god simulator runs on its own, I just stopped turning off my PC. I let the simulator run 24/7. Sitting at the desk, the Garlic Tribe had changed again. The population reached 38. Among the 13 newcomers, there were Forest Tribe members in leather vests, barefoot, shirtless wandering natives, and even a hairy savage, wearing only leaves. Faith had jumped to 44 points, enough for 2 more lightning strikes. The cactus minion and vigor cane combined provided 2 faith points per hour. That's fixed income. The new population provided variable income. Now for today's main event. I opened my bag and pulled out a clear plastic bag filled with light brown seeds, wheat seeds. This was a carefully considered decision. The Garlic Tribe needs to be fed first, before they can develop writing, pottery, or weapons. Once they have enough food, they'll naturally have higher needs and motivation. A prompt appeared on screen. "Do you wish to grant wheat to your believers?" "Yes." A moment later, outside the temple, exclamation marks popped up over the tribe's heads. They raised their arms and cheered. "The god's boon. Long live the miracle. Oh great God, thank you for your boon. Wheat. Magical wheat. Delicious food. Let's feast. The god granted us wheat. We must use it well, so our god's faith can spread across the world, just like the garlic." As expected of the only educated one in the tribe, the prophet saw the big picture. Faith jumped from 44 to 84. I recall garlic added 15 points. Wheat brought in 40. It seems boons have different levels of impact. So far, food has the biggest impact on the garlic tribe. A while later, the prophet walked into the temple, knelt in prayer, and a question mark appeared. I clicked on his query. "Oh great God, the forest tribe knows of a dying old God's apostle, and wishes to sacrifice them to you. However, they want us to teach them about wheat in exchange. But wheat is incredibly precious. My humble wisdom cannot weigh this choice. I can only devoutly ask, Almighty God Yao, can you grant us a revelation?" The screen displayed options. Do you wish to share wheat with the forest tribe? To trade for the apostle? In this God simulator, there was no detailed lore for this pixel world, nor did it provide a full map or detailed stats. As a god, I had to figure it out step by step. When that black bear attacked the tribe, I thought it was just a wild animal at first. Only when the prophet examined the corpse was the demon worshipper revealed. In a way, I didn't know much more than these pixel people. I simply had the status of a player they couldn't comprehend, like an alien god descending upon their pixel world. Then it hit me. If there's an outsider god like me, there are likely local gods native to this world. I looked at the vigor cane in my hand, and the dormant cactus minion in its pot. Both treasures originally belonged to the god of the forest, and the temple indicated this god had fallen. That's why his possessions were scattered around. The god of the forest. Would such a god be considered an old god? Sadly, no one was around to answer my question. After thinking for a moment, I decided to make the trade. Wheat is precious, but once allied, the garlic tribe would struggle to monopolize this crop anyway. Rather than letting them freeload later, might as well make an open trade right now. I clicked yes, and a light bulb appeared over the prophet. "Oh God, your servant knows what to do." He immediately opened a private chat with the shaman. The two sides quickly reached an agreement. Smiley faces popped up over the forest tribe members. "God Yao has granted us food. Benevolent and great God Yao." Then, the forest tribe members carried a stone coffin out of the forest. They carried it all the way to the garlic tribe's temple, and the garlic tribe brought it inside. A gray stone coffin icon appeared in the temple interface, labeled Apostle. I clicked on it. A portrait popped up. Inside the gray coffin lay a woman with her eyes blindfolded by a black cloth. There were tiny cracks running across her cheeks. Her body seemed sealed in ash and mud. The gray rocky shell almost blended entirely with the coffin. If it weren't for the faint outline of her soft features, she'd look just like a stone statue. Apostle. Dying. Affiliation, God of the forest. Apostles carry out the God's will and commands, listen to the God's voice, and serve as vessels for the God's descent into the world. Based on the description, an apostle seems to be a unit the God player can directly control, but reviving her wouldn't be easy. I clicked on the apostle and got a prompt. Reviving and converting her to your temple's apostle requires a massive amount of faith. Do you wish to spend 500 faith points to convert the apostle? One lightning strike is 20 faith. The apostle equals 25 lightning strikes. I couldn't afford a faith expense of that magnitude right now. I had to put the apostle aside for now and focus on development. I thought about it. This dying apostle was a subordinate to the god of the forest. The vigor cane was dug out of the forest by the prophet. The cactus minion also came from the god of the forest, and they dug up a dying apostle under their temple. It seems this forest has some strong connection to that god. Too bad I couldn't talk to the pixel people or ask them any questions. Then, I turned my focus back to building the tribe. I sent one brother to the river, and the other into the forest. Since one used to be a fisherman, and the other a hunter, they were in their element. The two heroes quickly reported back. The parts of the river with the most fish are deep. We need boats. The tribe needs to build boats to catch fish. Medicinal herbs found in the forest. They have animal bite marks and bloodstains on them, but they're unidentifiable. Requires a pharmacist to identify. The resources are there. They just lack the professionals. I knew rushing wouldn't help, so I just relaxed and watched. I found 2 frozen solid corns in my fridge, boiled them for dinner, and munched on the hot, soft corn, while watching the pixel people bustle about. It felt like being a kid again, watching ants on the ground. A simple, pure joy. Not long after, it started snowing in the pixel world. Winter had arrived. Aside from the 2 heroes, the wandering garlic tribe members all returned. Everyone hid inside their huts for warmth. During the short days, they scavenged for branches as firewood, and cleared snow around the temple and fields. Good thing the wheat was planted early. The harvest provided the tribe with ample food. Facing the harsh winter, the pixel people weren't afraid at all. Happy emojis popped up over their heads. We have wheat. Plenty of food. No one will starve this winter. Thank God for the wheat and garlic. Right then, the forest tribe paid a sudden visit. Unlike their past trading visits, this time the shaman led them personally. The prophet welcomed them. They lit a bonfire in the snow and warmed up with their allies. An anxious expression appeared over the shaman's head. Friends of the garlic tribe, we've run into a crisis we cannot solve. We beg for your help. 20 hunters from the forest tribe, our very best hunters. They went deep into the forest for one last hunt, to prepare for winter. But an avalanche from the mountain buried them in the forest. We can't find them. Only a god's mighty power can save them. We beseech the Yao Temple. May Almighty God Yao take pity on these hunters. If he helps them survive, we will build a temple in our tribe to worship God Yao, offering sacrifices and our tribe's loyalty. An exclamation mark popped up over the prophet. Since you seek the god's blessing, then go to the temple and pray to God Yao. Only the most devout requests will earn the god's mercy and boons. The shaman and his people began praying around the temple. I pondered this. According to the shaman, if I can find those men, they'd build a temple in the forest tribe too, meaning I could grant boons to 2 tribes at once and get double the sacrifices. But how do I save hunters trapped in deep snow? I thought of the scorching sun miracle. It costs 25 faith points. Unleashing it should melt the heavy snow. I selected scorching sun, aimed at the northernmost part of the forest visible on screen, maximized the range, and clicked the sky above the northern forest. A brilliant golden light appeared, and the thick white snow quickly melted away, revealing many shivering figures on the ground. An exclamation mark popped up over the kneeling shaman. Oh great God, the forest tribe deeply thanks you for your mercy. We have no doubt in your mighty power. We will immediately build a temple to worship you. The shaman sent a group of his people, who quickly rushed north to the melted forest. They soon brought back the missing hunters. True to his word, the forest tribe also built a temple. But to my disappointment, the temple interface didn't change at all. My plan for double boons and sacrifices didn't pan out. But there was a silver lining. Your miracle has turned the forest tribe's attitude to worship. Because they worship the same God, the forest tribe is merging with the garlic tribe. My spirits lifted. If I could merge over 100 people from the forest tribe, that would be a massive boost. Over 100 faith points. More population means expanding the temple's area of influence. More manpower means triggering more random events. The faith spent just now had bought long-term, continuous returns. I noticed that the forest tribe didn't really have a god. They had no temple and no totem. The shaman didn't act like the prophet, showing no reliance on any deity. He was more like an experienced elder, guiding the tribe using ancestral wisdom. That was good news for me. If the forest tribe worshipped another god, there'd likely be a clash of faiths. A war could even break out between the tribes. Now, between the 2 tribes, a wider road had been established. Houses were being built along both sides. There were the garlic tribe's thatched huts, and the forest tribe's treehouses. The 2 tribes were growing closer. As I waited for the tribes to fully merge, a sudden ringing sound echoed. It came from outside. I live in an old residential complex. The alley is pretty empty during the day, and even quieter at night. I walked to the window and looked out. Something was swaying left and right under the streetlight. It looked like something was hanging from the pole. Looking closely, a person was strung up on a concrete streetlight pole with a rope. A phone ringing was exceptionally clear in the alley. I immediately called the police. Hello? Is this the police? Someone is hanging by a rope in the alley outside. I'm at the locomotive factory dorms in Joyuan community. Please come quickly. The police asked for the detailed address and situation, told me not to act rashly, and said they were on their way. Putting down my phone, I breathed a small sigh of relief. Best leave this kind of thing to the professional cops. At that moment, the dormant cactus minion suddenly jumped onto the windowsill. It faced the direction of the person in the alley, its thorns bristling, seemingly on high alert. What is it? Did you find something? The cactus minion nodded. Sigh. Too bad you can't speak. Great God Yao. If you say I can speak, your servant shall speak. The cactus knelt on the ground, uttering a voice with a strange accent. I was startled. You can speak? You granted permission. So your humble servant can speak. What did you notice about that hanging person? My God, that is a demonic ritual. Demons gain faith through cruel, extreme rituals, using fear and ignorance to capture and control believers. Demons? What's the difference between a demon and a god? My God, a demon is just an evil god from the other side. Hearing this, I understood. A demon, by another name, was just another god player. Other than me, there was someone else, also using the god simulator to harvest sacrifices. I immediately recalled what Sister Fong had said. A creep was lurking around Joyuan community. I silently warned myself to be more careful. I couldn't let anyone discover the simulator on my PC. If a demon player found out, they would definitely try to steal my magic items, or even attack me. And that wouldn't just be a game anymore. I found a small flower pot, and told the cactus minion, without my permission, you cannot move around, and you cannot speak. You are just a regular cactus. Stay in here and behave yourself. Understand? Yes, my god. The cactus minion bowed. Out in the alley. The phone kept ringing over and over, like a cry for help. I looked back at the person strung up under the streetlight. She seemed exhausted. She stopped struggling and swaying. Her features became much clearer. Under the light. She was wearing a black bra, and her skin seemed covered in blood. I remembered I had a pair of binoculars. With the binoculars, I got a much better look. I actually knew the person under the streetlight. She was a hairdresser, who worked across the street, at a salon called Benchmark Cuts. She went by Angel at work. Her real name was unknown, because the shop was cheap. $15 for a wash, cut, and blow dry. I got my hair cut there a lot, and remembered her. She had dyed pale blonde hair, and was in her early 20s. She had a soft voice, and didn't force awkward small talk. She was quite pleasant. After the police rescued Angel, she was completely traumatized. She didn't say a word, just wrapped herself in a jacket a cop gave her, looking completely dazed. Her body was painted in blood with strange symbols. The symbols looked like distorted Arabic numerals, linking together, like a kind of chain, wrapping around her body layer by layer. The police locked down the scene, and came to my door to take my statement. I truthfully told them what I saw, only hiding the parts about the simulator and the demonic ritual. By the time the statement was done, it was already 2 a.m., holding the vigor cane. I wasn't sleepy at all. I looked at the cactus in the pot on my desk. Have you been to our world before? Your humble servant is visiting your divine realm for the first time. However, the divine realm of the god of the forest seemed different from yours. It was covered in water. I am too insignificant. I cannot begin to understand what a divine realm truly is. What did the god of the forest look like? We could not look upon him. Just like you, great god. We cannot describe the appearance of such a great being. I could only vaguely see a few shadows cast by the gods. I pried some info out of the cactus. He didn't have a name. He was created by the god of the forest, one of many cactus minions. He spent his whole life doing chores in the temple. After the god of the forest granted them, and sent them into the pixel world, he never recalled them. He only knew the temple slowly fell into ruin, meaning the god of the forest had fallen. Eventually, the cactus was buried when the temple collapsed. Many years later, he was dug up by forest tribe members foraging for mushrooms, but only a god can command a cactus minion. Pixel lifeforms could never make it revert to its true form. Since you're a relic left behind by the god of the forest, let's call you Little Flame. The next day, as it was almost time to clock out at work, did you hear? That creep showed up again yesterday, still around your JoUN community. See, I told you it was dangerous. Good thing you didn't walk home in the dark. I can't imagine if you ran into that creep. As a token of thanks, I ordered her a small cake and a coffee for delivery. After work, I hopped on a shared e-bike and sped home. Compared to the bus, e-bikes dodge traffic and take shortcuts. Theoretically, it's the fastest way to travel. Back home, I couldn't wait to sit at my computer. On screen, the pixel world's winter was over. The snow was completely gone, replaced by patches of sprouts and green grass. The garlic tribe members were clearing more land. The forest tribe members were out hunting. Everyone returned to their familiar routines, looking at the neatly arranged, ever-expanding wheat fields. Even a god like me felt pleased. The prophet and the shaman stood outside the temple, seemingly in a private chat again. Smiley faces popped up occasionally, making it look casual and relaxed. The forest tribe. Our ancestors once worshipped the old god of the forest, but that's just a story passed down by the elders. They say it happened in the last era. The elders say, before the god of the forest vanished, this forest covered over half the world. Back then, all beasts were friends of the forest tribe. Fierce demons were tamed into servants. Everyone lived long lives, coexisted with the trees, and possessed power granted by the god. However, that is too far in the past now. So far back, we can't be sure what's true and what's false. Since the time of the previous shaman, the forest tribe has suffered chronic food shortages. Animals are becoming scarcer. Shadows of demon worshippers now roam the woods. This forest is dying. My friend, I must now make a difficult decision. We want to move out of the forest and worship at the temple. Will God Yao accept the forest tribe? An exclamation mark popped up over the prophet, followed by a light bulb. As long as you are devout believers, God Yao will protect you. The garlic tribe welcomes you. A prompt appeared on screen. The garlic and forest tribes have merged. Faith has slightly increased. Boon complete. Wheat has fully merged with the world. I quickly looked at the top right corner. Faith had jumped from 79 to 237. Population jumped from 38 to 196. I couldn't help but fist pump the air. Yes, my early investments and patience had finally paid off. After the two tribes officially merged, the Forest Tribe members slowly moved out, copying the Garlic Tribe. They built thatched huts, cleared farmland, and planted wheat and garlic. On the other hand, the Forest Tribe's hunters remained, venturing into the forest regularly to hunt, bringing back much-needed meat and leather. Gradually, the Garlic Tribe members also started wearing leather vests. You could no longer tell the two tribes apart by looks. The new Garlic Tribe was thriving, but those two brothers ran into trouble. At some point, they had ventured into the farthest western part of the forest, bordering the endless mountain ranges. They were now sounding the alarm, sprinting back toward the tribe. Enemies in the forest. Enemy attack. Alarm! The hero's discovery mobilized the entire tribe. Led by the prophet and the shaman, the hunters grabbed their wooden spears, ready for battle. Soon, the enemies from the western forest revealed themselves. A group of savages wearing animal skins and wielding stone axes. There were only a dozen or so savages, but they were incredibly fierce, clashing violently with our 30-plus hunters. Hand over your food, or we'll kill you all. If you don't give us food, you heretics will die. The hunters struggled against these savages. Thankfully, the two heroes proved their worth. Wielding their wooden sticks, they focused on sneaking up and whacking the savages from behind. Thanks to their agility, the savages could hardly touch them. This fighting style was simple but effective, constantly frustrating the savages. The savages were soon repelled. They cursed as they retreated. How dare you fight back? You're dead. We'll be back. Wash your necks and wait to die. I felt a bit regretful watching this. We didn't just wipe out these bandits. They just drove them off. Then, the shaman spoke. It's the barbarian tribe. They live in the mountains. They have no intelligence, and are as fierce as wild beasts. The barbarian tribe is very powerful. Every one of them is a strong warrior. They constantly plunder food from nearby tribes. A large portion of the forest tribe's food was stolen by them. They are demon worshippers. Given demonic power, they can turn into beasts. We cannot fight them. It suddenly dawned on me. So that black bear from before was a barbarian warrior. No intelligence. Fierce as a wild beast. No wonder that guy last time couldn't even tell the garlic and forest tribes apart, and attacked the wrong target. I looked at the potted plant on my desk. Little flame. My God. Your loyal servant. Is at your command. The cactus immediately hopped out of the soil, standing at attention. Can all demon worshippers turn into beasts? My God, transforming into beasts should be a type of demonic ability. Only a tiny fraction of believers, those called heroes, can awaken this demonic power and use this ability. I see. The black bear I lightning strike last time left a full corpse, precisely because he was a hero among demon worshippers, stronger than ordinary pixel people. I looked at the two brothers again. You guys are heroes too. Why don't you have any special abilities? Opening their stats panel, I suddenly realized I judged them too quickly. The hero who liked fish, level 2 fisherman. Attack 2. Defense 1, luck 2. Awakened ability, water divination, level 1. Can find water sources in any environment. The hero who liked boars, level 2 hunter. Attack 3, defense 2. Awakened ability, tracking, level 1. Can identify tracks left by people and animals. They secretly leveled up. Though these aren't combat skills, their utility is great. With tracking, no wonder they spotted the barbarian tribe. I wronged you guys. I shifted my gaze to the mountains west of the forest. That's the barbarian tribe's settlement. You think you can just leave after offending a god? Not so fast. I immediately formed a counterattack plan. First, I sent the two heroes into the western mountains to scout. With tracking and water divination, they make perfect scouts. Next, I opened the temple interface. The boon slot was empty. I dug around in my bag and pulled out a red and yellow children's toy bow and arrow. Pure plastic. The arrowheads were soft rubber. I bought it at a toy store after work. Bows and arrows are deadly weapons for early tribal civilizations. It frees people from the high-risk combat of melee fighting, allowing them to wear down enemies from a distance. Though it's a toy, the mechanics and structure are the same. I placed the toy bow and arrow on the mouse. In the boon slot, a red and yellow bow and arrow icon appeared. Bow and arrow. A god's boon. A powerful ranged weapon with long reach. One of the most important weapons for armies and hunters. Do you wish to grant the bow and arrow to your believers? I clicked yes. Exclamation marks popped up over all Garlic tribe members. God Yao has bestowed a new boon. Bows and arrows. Magical bows and arrows. An amazing weapon. We don't need to fear enemies anymore. The hunters had the strongest reaction. Not only did they have smiley faces, they literally danced for joy. They quickly crafted their own bows and arrows, and eagerly rushed into the forest. A question mark appeared over the prophet. Bows and arrows are deadly ranged weapons. The god wants us to arm ourselves, so we are no longer threatened and attacked. The god's will. is for us to fight against the demon worshippers, to defeat those evil, savage brutes. That must be it. The shaman's thought process was different. A bow and arrow is like a frog's tongue. Those wielding it can hunt from a safe distance. Equipped with bows and arrows, we can hunt not just rabbits and monkeys, but also shoot down flying birds. We won't fear getting hurt by venomous snakes, bears, or wolves anymore. We need more bows and arrows. Everyone can be a warrior. A prompt popped up on screen. Your boon has taught your believers to craft and use bows and arrows. Faith has increased. Faith shot up by 30 points at once, reaching 267. After mastering archery, the Garlic tribe visibly became much more martial. Every pixel person heading out carried a bow and arrow. Hunters started bringing back bears and deer. Large prey like that. More leather was draped over the huts, and more dried meat hung on wooden racks. Meanwhile, there was news from the two heroes. Found a new tribe, the Salt Lake tribe. They heard we have food and want to trade. Didn't find the barbarian tribe, but made an unexpected discovery. I pulled the brothers back to the tribe. They returned, bringing people from the Salt Lake tribe with them. 2 people arrived, wearing linen clothes and carrying cloth bags. They looked quite wealthy. As soon as they arrived, they started talking trade with the prophet and shaman. The Salt Lake tribe has always traded with other tribes, trading salt for food, clothes, and medicine. We wish to trade salt for your wheat. A question mark popped up over the prophet. This seems like an opportunity. I must try to spread faith for our God. I watched with satisfaction. The prophet really understands me. Friends of the Salt Lake tribe, have you considered a better place to live? The Salt Lake tribe members looked at each other. We have the Salt Lake. The Salt Lake is everything. It can trade for anything. We don't need anything else. The shaman also chimed in to persuade them. The barbarian tribe is in the mountains. They worship a demon. They will attack any tribe that doesn't worship their demon. The Salt Lake tribe cannot avoid them forever. Smiley faces appeared over the Salt Lake tribe members. That's not a problem. We also worship that demon lord. Exclamation marks exploded over the Garlic tribe members' heads. The Salt Lake tribe explained. The Salt Lake tribe temple worships 3 gods, including the one you see as a demon. We live off the Salt Lake and salt making. As long as it leads to a better life, we can accept any faith. If necessary, we are willing to worship the god here too. The prophet and shaman were stunned. I couldn't help but exclaim, wow, this Salt Lake tribe is the first polytheistic tribe I've seen. They are highly pragmatic about their interests, showing traces of early merchants. After consulting, the prophet and shaman reached a consensus. Trade agreed. The Garlic tribe began trading with the Salt Lake tribe. The Salt Lake tribe's attitude became neutral. The 2 Salt Lake tribe members walked around the tribe. Suddenly, exclamation marks popped up over their heads. Garlic. It's a spice. Found a unique commodity. They excitedly raised their arms. Please give us as much garlic as possible. Priceless garlic. Beautiful, spicy garlic. I chuckled. I didn't expect my initial careless action would actually come in handy now. In early human civilization, spices were extremely expensive luxury goods. Wheat and bows were relatively common items, but garlic was the only spice in the area. The Salt Lake tribe members left behind 2 bags of salt, reserved a large amount of garlic, and hurried back. A few minutes later, a prompt appeared on screen. The Salt Lake tribe has decided to make garlic a key commodity. Attitude changed to friendly. Your faith will spread within the Salt Lake tribe. Your boon has overjoyed the Salt Lake tribe. Faith has slightly increased. Faith jumped by 120 points, reaching 387 straight away. I was stunned. The Salt Lake tribe seemed quite remarkable. Just giving them the distribution rights to garlic yielded so much faith. Their population in scale far exceeded the Forest tribe. On second thought, it makes sense. To easily juggle 3 different gods, they must have real power. If they weren't tough themselves, the barbarian tribe would have crushed them long ago. Near midnight, the Garlic tribe suffered a second attack from the barbarian tribe. 25 pelt-wearing barbarian warriors wielding stone axes charged out from the western forest. But this time, the Garlic tribe's hunters had pulled back their lines early and readied their bows. Under the hero's command, they unleashed a volley of arrows. The barbarians were riddled with arrows. They seemed to have zero experience fighting archers, relying purely on their pelts and bodies to tank the hits. In the end, only 6 or 7 managed to reach the hunters. With absolute numerical superiority and the power of bows, the barbarians were wiped out. Aside from those killed or who fled, the Garlic tribe also captured 4 barbarian warriors. The prophet interrogated them. Where is your tribe? Never betray. What demon do you worship? Glory belongs to the god. You heretics will all die. How many of you are there in total? Never betray. The 4 wouldn't spill a word. The experienced shaman tried a different approach. Your bravery and loyalty have earned our respect. You have been defeated. Going back will only bring punishment from your demon and tribe. Here, we have wheat to fill your bellies. We have powerful bows and arrows. We have delicious garlic. We also have dried meat and salt. Joining the garlic tribe is not a betrayal, because you will worship the great god Yao. With the god's protection, the demon cannot harm you. The four warriors fell silent for a moment. Exclamation marks popped up over their heads. We joined the garlic tribe. The shaman sure knows people. Then the four spilled everything. The tribe is in the mountains to the northwest, next to a massive cave. There are 82 of us in total, excluding the old and weak. We have 40 available warriors. There's a statue by the cave. It's a god wearing animal skins, called the beast-slaying god. The beast-slaying god demands living sacrifices to skin their pelts, so the tribe must raid for food. The tribe has birthed 2 beast-shifter heroes. One went missing while attacking the forest tribe. The other stayed behind at the tribe. The barbarian tribe is the enemy. Demons are the enemy. We will never betray the garlic tribe. They chanted the exact same slogans as before. Their faction switch was remarkably smooth. The 4 barbarians took off their animal skins, put on leather vests, grabbed bows and arrows, and quickly assimilated. What surprised me was that this demon, the Beast Slayer, had no idea how to run a tribe. He just controlled the barbarians to hunt and pillage everywhere, just to gain faith. How the barbarians lived was completely irrelevant to him. With bows and arrows, the barbarian threat was greatly reduced. My top priority was still increasing my faith points. The more of this strategic reserve I have, the better. After repelling the second attack, the garlic tribe entered a period of stability. The Salt Lake tribe kept sending people to buy garlic and bows, selling us salt, medicine, and farm tools that we lacked. They even built a wooden house here to serve as a permanent shop. As communication and trade increased, hunters armed with bows constantly expanded their range. The garlic tribe attracted more outside immigrants. The population in the top right reached 247. Faith rose to 448. In a single day, faith surged continuously. This brought up the thought I had previously suppressed. Converting the apostle in the temple required 500 faith. I was only 52 points short, just a bit longer. Relying on the vigor cane and the cactus minions, fixed growth of 2 points per hour. It might just work. However, by 8:30 a.m., when I left for work, faith was still stuck at 459. I was a bit distracted all day. Tomorrow is the weekend. I just wanted to sprint home and stare at the simulator, even though the vigor cane replenishes my energy, so I don't feel tired. Once I let go of it, muscle soreness and fatigue set right in. The cane is more like a potent stimulant. It sustains energy for a short time, but doesn't change human physical limits. Sleep is still necessary. I also kept pondering the old god's apostle in the temple. Is she really worth such a massive investment? Well, she is a top subordinate of the god of the forest. Even a minion like Little Flame is so useful. An apostle shouldn't be too shabby. Most importantly, I haven't found any other way to create an apostle. Right now, converting this old god's apostle is the only path. I barely made it to the end of the workday when my boss suddenly assigned me a last-minute task. I had to travel 20 kilometers to deliver concert tickets to some executive. By the time I finished and got home, it was already 8 p.m. Ignoring the sweat on my brow, I rushed to my computer. The faith in the top right had reached 489. It was mostly growing from the magic items. Population growth had slowed to a crawl. So, I went to take a shower first, then stood by the window to enjoy the night breeze, and checked the streetlights in the alley. No one was strung up there today, which makes sense. If they hung someone up every few days, that demon player would be openly provoking the entire police force. I went back to the computer. Faith now read 501. I opened the temple interface, clicked the stone coffin icon. Reviving her and converting her to your temple's apostle requires a massive amount of faith. Do you wish to spend 500 faith points to convert the apostle? I hovered my mouse over yes, but didn't click immediately. I asked the cactus beside me, Little Flame, does reviving one apostle really consume this much faith? Apostles are the most important right hand of every god. It is entirely worth it. However, your servant does not recognize the apostle in this stone coffin. I don't know what ability she has. Don't you know all the apostles of the god of the forest? I only remember the chief apostle, Mr. Forest. He was very powerful, capable of summoning forest spirits. I haven't met any of the others. I glared at the cactus. So you only know one? Little Flame said nervously. My god, I am just saying I truly do not recognize this one. Different apostles have different abilities. Some are skilled at scouting, but having an apostle is absolutely worth it. You also need a mobile apostle. I turned my attention back to the screen. Screw it. I clicked yes. My faith instantly plummeted to just 1 point. A prompt popped up in the pixel world. The slumbering apostle has heard your call. The power of your faith has mended her broken shell and parched soul. She is rapidly reviving from the sea of the dying. The apostle, Sword of the Forest, Su Yi, will follow your will, execute your oracles, and fight for the fire of your faith. The stone coffin shattered. As the dust settled, a young woman wrapped in a black robe appeared. Su Yi's eyes were blindfolded with black cloth. Her seaweed-like green hair was tied behind her head. Her body had regained its softness, and the cracks on her cheeks were gone. She knelt on one knee inside the temple, her long black robe trailing on the ground. Su Yi wasn't facing the statue, but rather facing me in front of the screen. My God above. Su Yi offers you all her loyalty and faith. Your first apostle is born. The Garlic tribe's faith has become stronger. The arrival of an apostle allows your faith to be known by a wider world. Boon complete. Bows and arrows have fully merged with the world. My focus at this moment was entirely on Su Yi's personal stats panel. Apostle, level 15, Sword of the Forest, Su Yi. Attack 20, Defense 20, Knowledge 30, Mana 30. Abilities, 3. Wisdom, level 15, Prayer of the Dying, level 5. Sword of the Forest, level 1. Wisdom is a prerequisite for improving other abilities, like an ability accelerator. Prayer of the Dying means Su Yi is a summoning necromancer. Sword of the Forest is her ultimate move. Summoning the Holy Sword in battle boosts all combat stats, and post-battle, it can create forest elemental creatures. By sustaining war with war, she could build an elite army. These stats are completely out of scale with everyone else in the Garlic tribe. She's like a high-level world map player, dropping into the newbie village. I also noticed a chat box above Su Yi's head. There was no text in it, just a long blank input line. I tried typing. Su Yi, can you see this? Still kneeling on one knee. Another chat box popped up above her head. My God, Su Yi, here's your will. Why are you blindfolded? My eyes have lost their vitality, and sometimes they fall out of their sockets, so I keep them bound, to avoid frightening others. Wow, so this is what an apostle is. This is what truly sets her apart from other pixel people. She can break the fourth wall, and talk directly to a god player like me. I typed away rapidly on my keyboard. How did the god of the forest you served actually fall? When the fire of faith dies out, memories of the gods are also erased. What's the fastest way for you to level up? Using faith is the fastest method, but it requires a massive amount. Usually, apostles gather faith in the world by executing the god's commands, leveling up through exploration, combat, rituals, and comprehension. I checked. Leveling Su Yi up to level 16 would cost 1,500 faith points. In comparison, getting a level 15 Su Yi for 500 points was an absolute steal. Typing and chatting with an apostle felt a bit surreal, like the first time you chatted with a stranger online as a kid. Surprising, yet filled with anticipation. Su Yi, how old are you? My God, I cannot recall my exact age. What do you think of the Garlic tribe? A relatively primitive tribe. Small population, uncivilized, and very backward. Can you come to my world? Others cannot, but apostles can. If you place me in the temple as a sacrifice, I will arrive in your divine realm. If you return me as a boon, I will return to the temple. However, I beg you not to do this. Every boon and sacrifice is extremely important. In the war of faith between gods, every opportunity to increase faith is precious. The brighter your fire of faith burns, the greater your chance of controlling the world. What are you doing? Wait a minute. I grabbed the panicked Su Yi with my mouse and dragged her right into the sacrifice slot. Do you wish to accept the Sword of the Forest, Su Yi? I clicked yes. My vision blurred for a second. On my computer desk, a slender girl wrapped in a black robe was kneeling. Her eyes were blindfolded. Her pale little face was tight with nervousness, and her body was trembling slightly. My God, what do you want me to do? Su Yi's voice was very quiet. She had a slightly strange accent, but she was speaking perfect Chinese. I don't know if that's a special ability of an apostle. I found it amusing. The cold and aloof Su Yi from the temple suddenly changed her tune in the real world. She looked like a girl kidnapped to a foreign land, helpless and pitiful. Listen to me, Su Yi. I brought you here for important business. In this world, the divine realm as you call it, there's a demon on the loose. He has already performed 3 demonic rituals nearby. I brought you over to track him down and to protect me. Hearing this was the case, Su Yi immediately looked relieved and calmed down. She knelt properly on the computer desk, her head slightly bowed. I follow your commands. Su Yi will definitely find the demon and protect my god's safety. Oh, right. Your abilities still work here? Yes. Abilities born from the fire of faith transcend realms. That's good. You can get down now. Su Yi hopped lightly off the desk. She was about 1.6 meters tall. Her fair skin was as smooth as porcelain, with a slightly upturned nose and rosy lips. She looked like a 17 or 18-year-old girl, except she was wearing a body-covering black robe and a black blindfold. This look was way too conspicuous. You need to change your clothes first. Otherwise, before you find the demon, he'll spot you first. Suyi picked out a white shirt from my clothes, a pair of jeans, and some slippers. I waited for her to change before coming back in. I also dug out a pair of sunglasses from the closet and a baseball cap. Can you use these instead of the blindfold? Yes. With this oversized, casual outfit, paired with Suya's green hair, sunglasses, and cap, it actually looked quite streetwear. While the tribe's development in the game is important, in the real world, my safety comes first. Suya's primary mission is to ensure my personal safety. Having gained a rough understanding of the simulator, I know very well how cruel the wars between gods can be. The old gods are the fallen gods. Once the demon player finds me, they will definitely imprison and control me, turning me into a tool to farm faith. Frequently stringing up normal people for rituals shows that some players no longer care about the law, would do anything. Little Flame the cactus is fine for cleaning, but has absolutely no combat power. With Suyi guarding my side, I'll be much safer. The next day was Sunday. Are you really going out with me? My god, there are demons spying around you. I must stay close to ensure your safety. Going out for food is necessary, but we must minimize contact with suspicious people, lest demons use food to poison you or conduct a ritual. She had a point, but bringing Suyi out would bring other troubles. Okay, I'm going to give you a simple backstory. Your name is still Suyi. You're from a small country. Our elders know each other, so we've met since we were kids. You grew up speaking Chinese. You're 18 this year, visiting this city for a vacation to relax. Outside, you have to call me Lin Yao. If you're asked questions you can't answer, just stay silent. Yes. Preparation complete. I took Suyi out, first to buy her some shoes. Suyi's feet were small. She couldn't wear my shoes. At the mall, I had her try on some canvas shoes, and wanted to buy her some affordable clothes. Suyi kept saying it wasn't necessary. My god, I can make my own clothes from cloth. That's how I did it in the past. Shoes only require leather and cloth to make, or I can just wrap myself in a single piece of cloth. It can act as a blanket at night. It's very convenient. Hearing these words alongside her earnest, straightforward face made me feel a bit sorry for her. Always out on missions. Being an apostle isn't easy. Walking to the fresh produce section, I bought a lot of meat and potatoes, food that can be stored. I also grabbed rice and noodles, estimating it would last half a month. Lin Yao. Someone suddenly called out to me. It was Sister Fong. She and a male companion were pushing a cart filled with hot pot ingredients. I could only brace myself and say hi. You're here grocery shopping too? This is my boyfriend. Well, my fiance, actually. Han Ji Gang. This is Lin Yao. I told you about him. The handsome young guy from my company. He's a good guy. Han Ji Gang was tall, had dark skin, a square face, and a broad nose. Very masculine. He smiled and greeted me. Hello. Care to introduce your friend there? A friend of mine. She looks like a doll. How did you two meet? Our elders know each other, so we've met since childhood. I kept my composure, while Suyi remained silent. Sister Fong glanced over and left it at that. Well, we won't bother you then. Han Ji Gang suddenly spoke. You live in the locomotive factory dorms in the Joyuan community, right? I'm with the City Criminal Investigation Brigade. The night of the incident in the alley, I was at the scene. Though I was inspecting the scene, it was my colleagues who took your statement. So he's a cop. I nodded. What happened? It involves Lin Yao? Sister Fong was surprised. He was one of the witnesses. He called the police. Officer Han, did you catch that creep yet? I can't disclose that, but we haven't caught him yet. That guy is terrifying. The victims will be scarred for life. Han Ji Gang looked a bit awkward. Due to discipline, all he could say was, we will definitely bring him to justice. After parting ways with Sister Fong, Suyi and I, carrying bags of all sizes, took a taxi back to my apartment. I left the sorting and unpacking to Little Flame, eagerly sitting down at my computer to operate the simulator. Suyi sat beside me, watching me click the mouse. She couldn't help but sigh softly. So this is what the lower dimension looks like. From the higher dimension, it's easy to understand. Looking down from a great height, everyone looks as small as ants. It's just a matter of perspective. Suyi looked thoughtful. She sat up straight, while she appeared to just be watching me play. She was actually highly alert, paying attention to any slight noise in the room. Oh, right. Suyi, since I can summon you here, can I also use the temple to bring other tribe members over? My god, please do not do that. It is extremely dangerous. If lower dimension lifeforms enter a higher dimension, because they lack the foundation to exist there, and the proper form, they will be distorted by the rules. Without a God's fire of faith for protection, these lifeforms will undergo irreversible changes and ultimately become deformed monsters. Only apostles, because they carry a spark of the God's fire of faith, can temporarily stay in a higher dimension. But staying too long will also affect us. Dimensional restrictions. It seems the real world is the higher dimension, and the pixel world is the lower dimension. I pointed at the bustling cactus behind me. What about Little Flame? He seems completely unaffected. The cactus minion is a special case. He was born in the higher dimension and cast into the lower dimension by a god. Plus, it's a very simple life form, capable of adapting to many environments. So how long can you stay here? The limit is about 15 days. Please be sure to return me to the lower dimension. Otherwise I may be distorted by the rules, become very strange, or even become a monster. And it's fine if I summon you back after you return? No problem. But it's best if I stay in the lower dimension for at least 3 days, to let my foundation and form resync. I see. It's kinda like recharging, or getting a vaccine. If Sui stays here too long, she might mutate, but as long as she goes back regularly to maintain her stable form, it's fine. After finishing the prep work, I finally returned to the simulator. Top right corner showed population, 254. Faith, 21. Inside the Garlic tribe, population growth was much slower than I thought. It wasn't that the pixel people lacked passion for making babies. Many babies were born, but most died prematurely. Not many survived to adulthood. In the early days, infant survival was less than 10%. Now it was about 30%. High infant mortality. Besides infrastructure issues, another key factor was the lack of doctors. The Garlic tribe's only doctor was the shaman, one person handling the medical needs of the whole tribe. Shaman, level 2 hunter by origin. Ability, healing, level 2. There is new life born, and old life passing away. Fatal injuries. Old age and death are the main causes of tribe attrition. Dead pixel people were buried in the forest, returning to the earth and nature. This was a custom of the forest tribe, carried on by the new Garlic tribe. After winter ended, an exceptionally hot summer quickly arrived. The entire screen was bathed in a faint yellow light. Large swaths of grass dried up and turned yellow. The river in the east dropped in water level. Smoke popped up over all the tribe members' heads. They were stuck in extreme heat. They usually hid indoors, only going out to farm and hunt at dawn and dusk. The blazing sun and drought persisted. The little people gathered around the temple to pray again. Great God Yao, please grant us rain. If it stays this hot, the wheat and garlic will die. Everyone will die. I didn't hesitate. I spent 10 faith to unleash the rain miracle. Long-awaited rain fell upon the parched earth. The little people cheered loudly, praising the god. But the prophet and shaman were talking. The god has brought rain, relieving the heat. But we cannot endlessly ask the god for favors. The hot weather might return. We must use this rain to think of a permanent, reliable solution. The two wise men pondered but had no clue. So I dragged them over to the river. The shaman paced back and forth by the river. Suddenly, a light bulb lit up over his head. I understand. We can dig a ditch in the ground to guide the river water over. And when it rains, we can store the rainwater too. They immediately called the whole tribe to dig a canal. The pixel people worked from dawn to dusk, slowly guiding the river to the farmland. They dug out a small pond, and then routed it back to the river from the other side, creating a flowing canal. Prompts kept popping up on screen. The Garlic tribe learned about canals, grasped irrigation and drainage. The Garlic tribe learned irrigation. Farmland yield increased. By mastering new technologies, the Garlic tribe has gained prestige among other tribes. The drought was still ongoing, but with the basic canal finished, basic drinking water and irrigation were secured. The pixel people's mood stabilized. Right in the middle of this long drought, the barbarian tribe mounted a third comeback. 32 barbarians joined the attack, excluding the old, weak, sick, and disabled. It was an all-out plundering effort by the entire tribe. Hand over your water and food, you wretched heretics. Hungry. Thirsty. They looked ferocious, but the slogans they yelled made me laugh. You're starving, and you're still calling us heretics? You don't even know how to beg. You gotta get on your knees first to have a chance. The current Garlic tribe wasn't afraid of an attack of this size at all. Armed with bows and arrows, the hunters easily shot the barbarians down. In this battle, 12 barbarians died, and the remaining 20 were all captured. They were already broken and desperate from the drought. With just a bit of persuasion from the shaman, the barbarians immediately surrendered. Willing to join the Garlic tribe, shouting, "We'll never betray." I have reason to suspect they had planned to defect to the Garlic tribe all along, but being simple-minded, they didn't know how to get accepted. Or maybe the barbarians have an ego as warriors, and surrendering after a fight seems more convincing. The barbarians talked about their tribe's situation. Too hot. Many people died in the tribe. No food and no water. And the demon lord still demands sacrifices. The hero was eaten by the demon as a sacrifice. We went out to raid everywhere. If we couldn't win, we just came here. This confirmed my suspicion. The Beast Slayer demon wasn't an elite player. The barbarian tribe was just a tool to him. He just forced them to find prey for sacrifices, not even sparing the barbarian hero. The barbarian tribe existed in name only now. I was planning to wait out the drought and go wipe out the remnants, but they collapsed on their own first. Under the indiscriminate force of nature, human groups compete on who can adapt better. At least that resolved a major worry. I stretched. Beside me, Sui suddenly looked out the window, her voice serious. My God, the aura of a demon. A demon? I walked to the window. The alley and street were empty. It was already night. And with the creep roaming the neighborhood, there was only a stray white dog wandering the street. Where? Sui pointed to a corner on the street. A middle-aged man was lying there, seemingly drunk, leaning against the curb, with a puddle of vomit beside him. The stray dog walked up to the man, sniffed him, and then did something I completely didn't expect. It grabbed the man's clothes in its mouth, and slowly dragged him into the alley. My God, please command me to hunt the demon. If you go fight the demon, how will I communicate with you? Use my eye. Sui reached into her left eye socket. It was a white eyeball with a green pupil. It had a cold, gem-like texture and a crystalline luster, like some ancient artifact. My God, everything I see with my power of faith will be shown to you through this eye. You can also issue new commands to me through it. I carefully held the eyeball and urged her. Stay safe. Don't let anyone discover your identity. Yes, my God. Suya's body was enveloped in black mist. She leapt from the windowsill, blending into the night. I looked at the cold, smooth eyeball in my hand as I gazed into the green pupil. A completely different perspective from my room appeared before my eyes. The streetlights on both sides flew backward. Suyi was chasing the target at high speed. She turned into an alley and stopped to observe. Under the dim light, that stray dog. Its body rapidly swelled up. It stood up on its hind legs. Its fur split open down the middle. A head of messy, greasy hair appeared. A thickly bearded mouth puffed out white breath. Its eyes were bloodshot. It looked like a mutated humanoid beast. It suddenly hit me. Isn't this just an HD version of a barbarian hero? The pelt-wearing beastman ripped the drunkard's clothes open, exposing his skin to the air. Then it vomited a pool of blood onto him, and used its claw-like fingers, dipped in blood, to draw bizarre symbols. Sui blurred into a black shadow and closed in fast. She grabbed a rusty steel pipe from out of nowhere. With a loud clang, she smashed the pipe right into the side of the beastman's head. He was sent flying into an abandoned Alto's windshield, shattering it into pieces. But even after such a heavy blow, the beastman's head was only slightly caved in. He still struggled to sit up. Suya's steel pipe swung down again, and smashed him hard. 3 swift strikes. The beastman's arm dropped. His body stopped moving. I was dumbfounded. I thought she was a summoning necromancer. Why is she a physical juggernaut? My God, this is a demon worshipper. Probably a hero class. Suya's voice came from the eyeball. I realized something. The real demon is still hiding? Yes. He must be spying from somewhere. But due to dimensional limits, I cannot identify the god. I can only sense the spark of faith on the demon's apostle. It's hard to pinpoint the demon's location. Is that demon worshipper still alive? Alive. However, since he broke through from the lower dimension, he has mutated into a monster. He's just a walking corpse controlled by the demon god. The standard procedure is execution. Once they become monsters, even returning to the lower dimension won't cure them. Killing them is a final act of mercy. Then do it. Suyi looked back at the beastman. My God, he is already dead. Only a pitch-black silhouette remained on the dented car, like humanoid ashes left after burning. I'm truly sorry, my God. I haven't fought in so long. Even though I tried to hold back, he was simply too weak. Even that level of force was fatal to him. Please punish me. Forget it, the result is the same anyway. Suddenly, I felt my vision shake violently. Then it froze, like the screen had been paused. Suyi? No response. Her body was stuck in some sort of stasis. The camera angle was also locked, facing the streetlight. Most likely, that demon player made a move. I observed calmly, thinking of a countermeasure. A person wearing a mask walked into view. A hood covered half their face. Finally caught you. You made me look for a long time. Good at hiding, huh? Then I'll just gladly accept your fire of faith. The previously frozen Suyi suddenly sprang up. She grabbed the person's wrist. The person trembled all over. Impossible. The bestowal ritual has started. How can you still be conscious? Who are you? Suyi asked me through the eyeball. My God, should I execute the demon? Is that also standard procedure? No rush. Let me think. Pull back their hood. Suyi yanked off the hood, revealing light blonde hair and a young woman's face. Angel the hairdresser stared blankly at Suyi. Her eyes were somewhat lost. Interrogate her now. Facing Suyi's interrogation, Angel answered very straightforwardly. I wasn't sure if she knew. She had no room to negotiate, or if she just didn't care. I quickly understood the whole story. Angel intentionally posed as a victim to hide her identity. She summoned the barbarian tribe's hero to the real world to perform the beast transformation ritual, which involved stripping people of their clothes, applying a blood curse to their heads, and hanging them up. The two targets of the beast transformation ritual, the college girl and the delivery guy, weren't ordinary people. They were simulator players. The key to the ritual was a small beast transformation relief embedded in the barbarian hero's forehead. As long as the target was stared at by the relief for a long time, they would gradually lose their sanity, cognition, and memory. Angel suddenly looked angry. Why can a high-level player like you still stay in the safe zone? Those people in the committee are just bullies. They only pick on us normal players and pretend not to see you guys. Where is the justice? Suyi stayed silent as I requested. When pretending to be a pro, the more you say, the more mistakes you make. Staying quiet prevents exposing flaws. Angel wasn't surprised by Suyi's silence. She pulled 3 items out of her pocket. Winner takes all, I know the rules. Just bad luck this time. Ran into a wall. I admit defeat. This is all I have. I've been to the crawler zone too. Got my wonder destroyed by some bastard. And was demoted back to the safe zone. I just wanted to make some quick faith with the beast ritual and get back up there ASAP. Now I only have one barbarian tribe left, and it collapsed because of the drought. Do whatever you want with me. I'm already on the committee's radar anyway. Turn yourself in. This ends here. Angel pulled out her phone and dialed 110. Hello, police? I'm that creep who was hanging people up. Yeah, that's me. I'm turning myself in. I'm guilty. My name is Angel. I live at Joyuan Community, Nanpu Apartments, Building 3, Room 701. Half an hour later. Inside an isolated white room. I told you, she is a high-level player who shouldn't be in the safe zone. My flares will had absolutely no effect on her. She used a steel pipe and killed my tier 7 barbarian hero in 3 hits. She was covered in black mist and looked quite young. She's either a high-level player from the crawler zone or a high-level apostle. Definitely way above the safe zone standard. Across from Angel was a wall made of gray bricks. Its surface undulated slowly like flowing water. A voice came from within the wall. Yuan Anchi, the committee now announces your punishment for harming ordinary players in the safe zone, illegally robbing faith, and disrupting social order. You are sentenced to 10 years of imprisonment until you enter the crawler zone. Punishment is effective immediately. The room instantly plunged into darkness. Only the monitor on the desk emitted a faint glow, illuminating Angel's resentful face. She sighed, sat at the computer, and clicked the only icon on the desktop, God Simulator. As soon as the interface opened, Angel furiously slammed her fist on the desk. If it was a high-level player, fine, but a newbie dares to act tough with me? Destroying my tribe and my portal. God Yao? You little brat. My God. These are the sacrifices offered by the demon. Suyi opened her hands, presenting 3 items. I first picked up a pitch-black statue, about the size of a seal. It looked like a lump of soft black mud. It felt like a cross between rubber and clay. Many eyes were hidden within the black mud, glowing and gloomy, dark red. It looked rather evil. Statue of the Flayer, level 3. Increases faith by 3 points per hour. Attack +2. Can initiate the beast transformation ritual. By staring, it drains the sanity, cognition, and memory of live sacrifices, turning them into powerful flayed beasts. In exchange for faith. No wonder Angel said she was making a quick buck for faith. She was selling players to this mysterious Flayer. In exchange for faith. The statue of the Flayer is a special conceptual attack. Those 2 players who were attacked never would have guessed that the real threat wasn't the Beastman or the blood curse, but this inconspicuous statue. And this treasure actually has a level indicator, meaning it can continuously level up. It has growth potential. I put down the statue and picked up another item. It was a whistle made of some unknown bone. The surface was yellowed, looking quite old. Evil bone whistle. Increases faith by 2 points per hour. A treasure crafted by the whistler. Controls mindless monsters and beasts by blowing the whistle. The bone whistle's ability is concise. The statue of the Flayer plus the evil bone whistle is a classic case of 1 + 1 greater than 2. The former turns people or creatures into beasts, and the latter tames the beastified individuals for your own use. No wonder Angel previously talked about being his dog. She wasn't joking. She was just stating a fact. I looked at the last item. It was a letter. sealed with wax. It opened with a gentle tear. Inside were 2 yellowed pieces of stationery. Drifting letter. Increases faith by 1 point per hour. Available stationery, 2. Write a message on the paper. And through a boon, deliver it to a specific individual in the lower dimension. The recipient is guaranteed to understand the message. When the black bear attacked the tribe, the letter that dropped from its corpse was the effect of this item. The barbarian tribe members are all brawn and no brains. A mutated barbarian hero is physically stronger, but even closer to a mindless beast. So even if he could understand the letter, he still attacked the wrong place. The statue of the Flayer's Beast ritual mode is completely opposite to my development strategy. It might gain faith quickly, but essentially, it's just working for the Flayer in drawing aggro. It's best used as an accessory. At least it adds 2 points of strength. Suyi, you use this. Try not to use the Beast ritual. Just keep it as an accessory. Yes, my god. Take the evil bone whistle too. The two are a combo anyway. Equipping both on Suyi makes the most sense. Oh, right. Are there other ways to deal with useless items? You can toss them directly into the temple bonfire, which is the fire of faith, and burn them to gain some faith. Of the 3 spoils, I only kept the drifting letter. This thing was useless in Angel's hands, because the barbarian tribe had no wise men. But for me, it was a very useful consumable. With it, I can write directly to the prophet and shaman to convey my intentions. No more indirect guidance needed. I was in a good mood. First, I rooted out Angel, the demon lurking in the shadows. Watched the police arrest her. Eliminated the biggest security threat. Even if she plays tricks and escapes, I know her real identity now, and she doesn't know who I am. Before, the enemy was hidden and I was in the open. Now, the enemy is exposed and I'm hidden. The advantage is mine. Then, I also gained 3 high-value spoils. Just the fixed income of 6 faith per hour made me laugh out loud. Plus the cactus minion and vigor cane. That's 8 points per hour total. 192 points a day. Before, I was so short on faith, I had to think twice before using a miracle. Now I can relax a bit. Rain when it needs to rain. Zap whoever needs zapping. But before getting back to the simulator, there's one crucial question. Suyi, why didn't you use your abilities at all? My god, Prayer of the Dying costs mana. Against such a weak enemy, it wasn't worth it. And Sword of the Forest? The opponent was too weak to trigger the effect of the Sword of the Forest. I was a little disappointed. I handed the eyeball back to Suyi. She took it and skillfully popped it back under her sunglasses. I turned my attention back to the simulator. Although, I couldn't bring myself to kill a real person like Angel. When it comes to crushing her barbarian tribe, I definitely have the guts for that. Lots of guts, in fact. Figuring Angel was still stuck at the police station and couldn't play the simulator, I clicked on miracles. Earthquake requires 40 faith, but I only have 20 right now. I can't use it. But time is of the essence. I can't wait. So I grabbed a pen and wrote a message on the drifting letter. The demon worshipped by the barbarian tribe has been defeated. Do not miss this chance. Conquer and assimilate the barbarian tribe immediately. To eliminate the threat, I placed the letter on my mouse. Do you wish to grant the drifting letter to your believers? Yes. Unlike before, this time, the tribe members didn't notice a boon arriving. It instantly entered the pixel world, floating in the air. I clicked and dragged it directly onto the prophet. An exclamation mark popped up over the prophet. Divine revelation. The demon of the barbarian tribe has been defeated. The prophet and the shaman took immediate action. The garlic tribe sent out 30 elite hunters, led by the 2 heroes, charging into the mountains. They quickly found the barbarian tribe's location. In the mountains, a small tribe with only about 20 people left. They were all lying on the ground, delirious. Gray ghost icons floated above their heads, showing extreme weakness. Even if the garlic tribe didn't attack, they wouldn't have lasted a few more days anyway. The 2 heroes easily captured all the barbarians. Then, without hesitation, they destroyed the demon statue by the cave. The garlic tribe and barbarian tribe have merged. Faith has increased. Faith went up by 51 points. Total, 71 points. I looked at the cave near the former barbarian settlement. Very suspicious, but I wasn't about to risk my people. I directly clicked. Earthquake, targeted the cave entrance and surroundings. Cost, 40 faith. The selected area convulsed. Huge rocks tumbled down, and the cave entrance quickly collapsed. Rubble completely buried the vicinity. This way, if there's any abnormal activity from the collapsed cave, I'll notice it immediately. A prompt appeared. The faith in the demon beast slayer has completely vanished from this area. His believers will begin seeking a new god. Days go by. The daily grind never ends. I was sitting at my desk organizing documents. Sister Fong leaned in. That little girl, Suyi, she looks like a doll. She seems very classy. Must be a rich girl, huh? When do you guys plan to get married? I nearly spat out my water. We're just friends. Oh, stop pretending. The girl was wearing your clothes, following you around the supermarket. If she's not your girlfriend, is she your maid? I really wanted to say, she's actually my apostle, but I could only give a vague reply. It's not what you think. Then what is it? Sister Fong wouldn't let it go. I changed the subject. By the way, Sister Fong, how tall is your fiancé, Officer Han? 187. A taller guy gives a sense of security, you know? Speaking of that creep, I heard he was caught. He was caught? Yeah, but the suspect's identity seems a bit sensitive, so it hasn't been announced. The case was transferred to a higher department. Han Ji Gang didn't say much either. Said he had to follow protocol. I was shocked. Transferred to a higher department? That means Angel's identity as a player was exposed. More importantly, it seems the player community is managed by a special department. This means that besides Angel and me, there are many others playing as gods in the pixel world. I remember Angel thought Su Yi was a high-level player, and mentioned the committee. She must have some connection to that organization. But this also means Angel has indeed been arrested. She won't be causing trouble anytime soon. Why are we talking about me? Su Yi looks like she's not even 20, right? Which country is she from? Is her family really okay leaving her with you? Were you two arranged to be married as kids or something? She's already gone home. What? You just let her leave? What if she doesn't come back? With those looks, could you find anyone like her again? Everyone has to go home eventually. Su Yi returning to the pixel world was partly her own wish, and partly due to dimensional laws. The longer she stayed in the real world, the higher the risk of mutation. With Angel arrested, she had no reason to stay here. An apostle's primary mission is to act as the god's arm to spread faith. Only in the pixel world can she utilize her skills. In reality, Su Yi was just a bit too intense. I got home from work. Little Flame was sitting quietly in his flower pot, looking just like a normal indoor plant. The game interface showed the garlic tribe steadily growing. Population 303. Faith 201. In the temple, Su Yi, dressed in her black robe, knelt quietly, facing me through the screen, awaiting orders. I typed in the chat box, any abnormal activity in the tribe recently? My god, everything is normal. Nothing suspicious. I asked you to investigate the barbarian tribe, the collapsed cave over there. Any findings? My god, there is a passage inside, leading to an unknown area. But because of the cave-in, it is completely destroyed. It can no longer be used. My god, I request to leave the tribe temporarily. Not long ago, I used prayer of the dying to wake a spirit. He said there's an oasis in the southern desert. In the oasis is the Bedouin tribe. The Bedouin tribe raises sheep and camels, and they are fierce warriors. Moreover, they control a passage connecting to another plains area. I wish to enter the desert, find the Bedouin tribe, and convert them into your believers. I had total faith in Su Yi's abilities. Then go ahead. Yes, my god. Su Yi walked out of the temple, heading into the western desert, beginning her expedition. I looked at the cactus on the desk. Little Flame, make me a bowl of noodles. Pickled pepper flavor. Add an egg and a sausage. Yes, my god. Little Flame stood up from the pot, shook off the dirt, dug out a pack of noodles from a cardboard box in the corner, and ran off to cook. I'm renting a 2-bedroom apartment, sharing it with my college friend, Joe Jia. Joe Jia doesn't live here. He uses the other room as a temporary warehouse. It's piled high with cardboard boxes. Usually, he comes over early every Monday to stock up and drop off new goods. I lock the front door from the inside when I get back, so I'm not afraid of anyone seeing Little Flame. Stray cats were yowling outside the window, not sure if they were fighting or mating. I stood up to stretch. As I rolled my neck, I heard a loud cracking sound from my body. I moved a bit too sharply, and pulled my back. I hissed in pain and rubbed my lower back. A new prompt appeared on my computer. The Garlic tribe has invented writing. Everyone's intelligence has slightly increased. The emergence of writing gives the Garlic tribe the ability to record, enabling the cross-regional spread of civilization and faith. If my back didn't hurt, I would have done a little victory dance right there. Writing is the symbol of civilization. The Garlic tribe has finally stepped out of the ignorant, uncivilized era. They've made it. With the emergence of writing, the game interface also updated. At the top of the screen, aside from population and faith, several new resource indicators appeared. Food, wood, stone, leather, salt. But they didn't show specific numbers, instead displaying as progress bars. Food was the most abundant, showing a healthy green. Hovering the mouse over it revealed a detailed list. Wheat made up 80%, meat 10%, and the rest were miscellaneous. Salt and leather were also green. Wood was yellow, indicating low reserves. Stone was red, indicating extreme shortage. I figured it out quickly. Only after writing appeared. Could these resources be displayed as text? As civilization develops and societal complexity increases, the interface will update accordingly. Fortunately, civilization evolves autonomously. It doesn't require my micromanagement. I just need to steer the overall direction. The game prompts continued. Since you defeated the demon beast slayer in this region, the Salt Lake tribe's attitude has changed to intimate. The Salt Lake tribe has offered you a sacrifice. The word sacrifice immediately perked me up. I opened the temple. A shiny golden object appeared in the sacrifice slot. Golden dice. Costs 2 faith points per roll. Rolling a 6 yields 1 sacrifice. Origin, unknown. My excitement instantly vanished. The Salt Lake tribe offered a gambling tool. I'm extremely sensitive to faith points now. Seeing the description of the golden dice, one phrase popped into my head: nothing good comes of this. The core of gambling is scamming. Costs 2 faith points per roll. Where does this faith go? Thinking of the Salt Lake tribe's merchant ways and their claim of worshipping 3 gods, I suspect the golden dice is a setup by some god, using the Salt Lake tribe to run scams everywhere, defrauding other gods of their faith savings under the guise of investment. It's way smarter than Angel's clumsy robbery tactics. As for the rolling a 6 yields a sacrifice part, the probability is totally unregulated. It rolls a 6 when he says so, and it doesn't when he doesn't. It's an utterly blatant rigged game. Einstein said it best: God does not play dice. But since they offered it, there's no reason not to accept it. Suyi said that unneeded sacrifices can be thrown into the fire of faith and burned. To gain faith, I just tossed the golden investment right into the temple bonfire. Faith plus 10. Just as I thought, it's worthless. I observed the Garlic tribe's geographical environment. The base camp is in the Basin Plains. There's still a lot of undeveloped land. To the north, the forest extends. To the east, it is blocked by the river. To the west, mountains. To the south, a desert. Although the world map keeps expanding through exploration, there are no other populations nearby. If we want to develop quickly, trading, communicating, and even merging with other tribes is the best way. Currently, the only safe passage is the Salt Lake tribe behind the mountains. They firmly control the entry and exit points. Another potential passage is the Bedouin tribe in the southern oasis, but Suyi still needs time to clear that path. Unlike the forceful conquest of the barbarian tribe, the Salt Lake tribe has a flexible strategy. We are actively trading. There's no conflict of interest in the short term. The situation is considered stable. After the Garlic tribe invented writing, there was another significant change. The Pixel people all learned to think simply. Question marks above heads were no longer exclusive to the prophet and shaman. I clicked on different people's question marks to read their thoughts. I woke up hungry today. I won't be hungry after eating, but I'll be hungry again tomorrow. Since we'll always get hungry, is there any point to eating? Weeds grow faster than wheat in the fields. If wheat could grow on its own like weeds, we'd never run out. How great would that be? Meat is delicious. Garlic is delicious too. But eating them together is the most delicious. I'm probably the only one who knows this secret. The prophet is old. The shaman is old too. Should I succeed the prophet or the shaman? Such a headache. One farmer's thoughts caught my attention. There are so many weeds and bugs this year. And a drought too. The wheat harvest will likely be poor. The whole tribe is counting on the wheat. If we don't get a good harvest this year, we'll starve in winter. It wasn't just him. Several farmers showed the same concern. They are the professionals managing the fields, very sensitive to the environment and food. I did some searching and decided on the next item for remote support. I went to the kitchen, grabbed a large potato, and placed it on the mouse. Do you wish to grant the potato to your believers? Yes. Exclamation marks popped up over the little people's heads. The god has granted another boon. Potatoes grow buried in the soil and are drought resistant. Higher yield than wheat. A brand new type of food. Smiley faces appeared over the farmers. Wonderful. God Yao knew the harvest would be bad this year, so he granted us potatoes. No one will starve this winter. Praise God Yao. The farmers quickly planted the potatoes in the new fields. The dry season gradually passed. It rained a few times, but autumn didn't last long before it started snowing. Just as the farmers predicted, the wheat harvest was very poor this year. It dropped from 80% to 40% of our supply. Potatoes made up 30%, meat 20%. Overall food reserves showed a yellow warning light. Good thing the potatoes supplemented it in time. Otherwise, the food shortage in winter would be severe. This is also a benefit brought by civilizational progress. People think, worry, and observe, leading to more communication and attempts. As the god behind the scenes, I can also see subtle changes in the pixel world, from the pixel people's doubts, and make targeted adjustments. During this relatively short winter, 2 things happened. First, The Salt Lake tribe came over and bought a batch of food at a high price. According to them, because the drought lasted so long, most other tribes they contacted fell into famine. The Garlic tribe was already considered a relatively wealthy area. Second, a batch of 22 immigrants arrived from the Salt Lake tribe. Among them were 2 carpenters, 2 pharmacists, and a salt worker. For the first time in history, the Garlic tribe attracted a group of professionals. On one hand, they had some understanding of the God Yao faith. On the other hand, due to the drought and famine, there was nowhere with a better chance to eat your fill than the Garlic tribe, a food-producing area. The carpenters had logging and woodworking skills. They started logging in the winter and built the Garlic tribe's first wooden house. The pharmacists filled the medical gap left by the shaman being the only doctor. They gathered herbs in the forest to treat the sick, saving many lives. The salt worker found some salt in the western mountains. Although the yield wasn't high, it provided the tribe with another way to obtain salt. I poured a glass of Coke with ice, tore open a bag of cucumber-flavored potato chips. Looking down at the busy pixel people, I felt as if I had merged with them. My body felt stronger too. I won't roll the dice. I just want steady happiness.